Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I believe Kaspa will not beat Bitcoin, and also be talking about why I personally have started investing back into Bitcoin. Now, of course, this is all my opinions and this is not financial advice, but I just want to give you guys exactly what I'm doing with my money to hopefully maybe give you some value and help you look at things differently if you have one current mindset of something. So right now, there's this belief that Kaspa could potentially beat Bitcoin in the future. And then there's the camp where Kaspa will not beat Bitcoin in the future, which in my opinion, I think is a lot more realistic. Now, the reason why I still believe in Bitcoin, and I believe anyone that's in Kaspa should believe in Bitcoin, is because of that fact that Kaspa and Bitcoin complement each other. I want to read you this post that I made here a little bit ago about Kaspa or Bitcoin. And I say here, I have seen many people discuss what they believe about the future of Bitcoin now that CAS exists and want to make a post where I give my view. Ultimately, I believe CAS will not overtake Bitcoin, and if it did, it would not be within the next 10 years. Some may say I'm not bullish enough, but I'm just looking at the facts. Bitcoin and CAS both have unique fundamentals that cannot be replicated. Let's look at some of them. Bitcoin will always be ahead in terms of adoption and trust, and it's over 14 years of Bitcoin's adoption in history. Will always be the most scarce, having only 21 million coins that cannot be replicated. Well, it can be, but the adoption and the trust behind only having 21 million coins cannot be replicated. And Kaspa, of course, has a much higher supply because it's intentionally not supposed to be more scarce, but be used as a currency. But for something to be money, I do believe it needs to be able to be saved and spent. And Bitcoin is mainly, predominantly encouraged to only be saved. So it also will always have a unique launch with the founder completely vanishing and never moving their coins. I say always, but who knows what can happen. And of course, Satoshi Nakamoto is an anonymous founder for Bitcoin. And this makes Bitcoin a lot more unique than every other cryptocurrency because it's the only cryptocurrency that can successfully have an anonymous founder. And it allows it to be insanely more decentralized because there's literally no single person that may have some kind of movement on the price or where the future will go. Now, in the terms of Kaspa, I actually have a video where I talk about if Kaspa having a living founder is a problem, and I highly suggest you go check out that video because I do discuss the differences between Kaspa's founder and basically every other founder that exists for different cryptocurrency projects. But when we're looking at Kaspa, Kaspa does have its own unique things as well. And I say will always be a coin that has a background with over 10 years of research before its launch, will always be the first to introduce true scalability, solving the trilemma to the base layer while utilizing proof of work, will always have, in my opinion, the smartest founder in the entire crypto space behind it. I said, I mean, people think he is Satoshi himself. That is a unique fundamental to Kaspa, that the founder actually drives some people to think that it could even be Satoshi. Whether or not this is true or not doesn't really matter. What matters is that people do believe that possibly this is true. Regardless of what you believe, I think both have their own use cases. Bitcoin as a digital gold and Kaspa as a potential true digital silver. And I say, sorry, LTC. 2.5 minute block time is still not fast enough. In the long run, I believe holding any of these will do you well and would be the safest investment in the crypto space. Let me hear your thoughts below in the comment section. And please put it down in the comment section what you think about the differences between the two. If you think Kaspa could beat Bitcoin in the future, or if you believe having both in your portfolio is actually smart. Personally, I believe having both in the portfolio is a smart move, and I want to tell you why I have actually started investing a little bit back into Bitcoin. So when I first started with this channel, I originally had Bitcoin and Kaspa. I eventually was saying that I was looking forward to possibly selling a profit of Kaspa because I do believe in taking profits. But this is before my conviction has continued to grow in Kaspa and understand the much bigger picture it may have. So eventually I ended up selling all my Bitcoin for Kaspa because I did view Kaspa as a better ROI potential in that current time period. And this actually paid off. It was a successful move, and I decided to sell my Bitcoin, buy Kaspa. I was all in Kaspa. I only had Kaspa, and now that has paid off. But now looking at the markets and how Kaspa has achieved the adoption that I was believing it would achieve, I believe this thing about Kaspa in the future, that it will start to follow Bitcoin much more. Now, I believe that in the next bear market, if we do go into a bull run and we have a traditional historical repeating cycle of bull market, then bear market, I believe in the bear market, Kaspa will follow Bitcoin. It will end up following Bitcoin and may underperform Bitcoin in the bear market. And usually in the bear market, Bitcoin outperforms pretty much everything else. It's a better hold during the bear market. So I believe holding both is still awesome, but holding Bitcoin as well going into the bear market will be good to maintain your purchasing power and not be losing so much money, because I believe Kaspa will probably lose more. Now, in the long run, I believe Kaspa will continue to outperform Bitcoin in the bull run, similar to what Ethereum kind of does. In each bull run, it ends up outperforming Bitcoin. Now, this bull run is going to be really significant for Ethereum to see if it will create a new all-time high in that Ethereum Bitcoin chart. But when we're looking at the Kaspa Bitcoin chart, it's been doing really well. It's been outperforming Bitcoin, but it's hit the adoption level where it's going to become a traditional cryptocurrency that follows Bitcoin. And I believe holding the asset that literally moves the markets, which is Bitcoin, is still a smart move. It cannot be replicated, the adoption that it has overnight. And we're talking adoption of a country. I mean, El Salvador adopted Bitcoin, made it an official currency, and now El Salvador consistently buys Bitcoin pretty much every single day. We also have Bitcoiners that cannot be replicated. There's Bitcoiners that will religiously always buy Bitcoin. You have Michael Saylor backing it. You have ETFs now that are backing it. Larry Fink says Bitcoin ETFs are just the first step in technological revolution of finance. And I believe that Bitcoin is the first step to reaching those levels, but I believe there's going to be another asset, and I believe this cryptocurrency asset will be Kaspa, will start to lead this technological revolution in the crypto space because of the technology it provides. But again, Bitcoin has this going for it that no other cryptocurrency has going for it. There's also books for Bitcoin to help understanding and the adoption. People really believe in it. And for your crypto project, you want a community that believes it in the way that people believe in Bitcoin. But Kaspa also has amazing fundamentals that are unique to itself. Kaspa itself has its own book, the Book of Kaspa. If you have not purchased it yet, I highly suggest you check it out and read it. The Book of Kaspa, Realizing the Nakamoto Dream. This is really important to Kaspa adoption, that there's people in there that are serious about the project in terms of wanting to educate people and make people understand the technology a whole lot better, as people do with Bitcoin. Also, Bitcoin has one of the most unique, best founders in the space, the best minds in the space. We're talking Kaspa going back 10 years worth of research and technology. I mean, the founder right here, Jonathan Samplaninski, is literally named in the Ethereum white paper. This cannot be replicated by any other coin because Jonathan decided to make Kaspa after 10 years later of his name being in the Ethereum white paper, his name pretty much being the reason why Ethereum exists today, because they used his Ghost implementation. And I go really deep into that in other videos. It also has probably the best technology innovating in the proof of work space. So I believe that this new technology is not going to get ignored, but it's going to get adopted. We also see that people are literally using it for what it's intended, and that is a cryptocurrency, doing the currency part of crypto, which I believe is a market that is much bigger than simply just being a smart contract platform. Being a currency that is global money, considered to be money or cash, this is what Kaspa is aiming to be, and we have evidence of this actually becoming a reality. And so I come to the point of looking at Kaspa and Bitcoin as an investment perspective now too, because obviously I would be lying if I'm here talking about Kaspa, talking about Bitcoin, and I'm not here to obviously make money. Everyone that's in crypto obviously wants to make money and increase their purchasing power. Now, personally, I believe I want to do this in crypto with the least amount of risk possible and being able to follow my principles, my philosophies of what I should be investing in within crypto, because I believe it can actually bring something very positive to the world. And I believe only Bitcoin and Kaspa are going to successfully do this in the coming future. But when we look at Bitcoin usually has these cycles where it follows the 4-year halvings and all that kind of stuff, and it creates a new all-time high pretty much every 4 years. And then after that new all-time high, it of course goes into a bear market. Now, this is obviously based off of past history, and usually, the future is never known, but usually it usually rhymes. Okay, it rhymes with history, and typically it has been following this perfectly. Now, I'm just preparing myself for the possibility of it just simply following this kind of repeating cycle again. And this is why I believe investing into Bitcoin itself right now on top of Kaspa is great. Simply because after this dump, after the hype of the ETFs, it went down to a pretty decent correction. I mean, we're talking about from the top of this, it's gone down about all the way about 20%. And that was a really, really decent correction. And I decided that, I want some Bitcoin under the all-time high. Now, this Bitcoin that I'm acquiring is Bitcoin that I never want to sell it. I think Bitcoin is supposed to be viewed as that digital gold, and it's supposed to be a store of value, and you're not supposed to really sell it. You're supposed to hold it long term to increase your purchasing power and fight against inflation over the long run. So because of this, I believe buying in this area, if we're looking at the past, the Bitcoin market usually corrects itself. And when it corrects itself, it goes to its previous all-time high and maybe fall a little bit under it. We saw that in the last bear market. It went back to its previous all-time high, which was about $20,000, and it fell just a little under it. And of course, we couldn't predict the things that made it even fall harder, which is like the FTX collapse and this collapse over here, which was the COVID collapse. You can't really predict those black swan events, but typically from past history, it tries to go back to its previous all-time high and maybe a little bit under that. So personally, I believe buying Bitcoin at the current prices right now, you're buying at a place we may touch back in the future or never see again. And because of that, I believe buying Bitcoin at this current price, DCAing into the new halving, which is going to be in April of this year, is a smart move, just financially speaking for myself personally. And after this bull run, I'm possibly thinking of buying BTC all the way up till it makes its new all-time high. Once it makes its new all-time high, I'm thinking of kind of just sitting back and just watching it and seeing what happens and just seeing how the market is and the environment, but not really going that heavy at all. I will significantly decrease how much I'm DCAing every single week once Bitcoin hits an all-time high, since Bitcoin typically moves the whole entire market. Now, we'll get into the possibilities of when I'm going to be selling Kaspa or when I'm going to be wanting taking a profit of Kaspa when we approach that all-time high, if we ever do. This is all uncertain and no one really knows the future. But this is just my strategy right now. And currently, I have started DCAing into Kaspa and Bitcoin weekly. And I'm going to keep doing that until Bitcoin goes into its all-time high. Once it goes into its all-time high, depending on where Kaspa price is, I may either stop DCAing into Kaspa or simply just decrease my DCA into Kaspa. But truly, I believe Bitcoin and Kaspa are two assets that are something to be buying for the future. I think of these things as decade-long investments, Kaspa especially being a decade-long investment in mind, at least 5 years or more. That's how I'm viewing Kaspa currently, just based on all the fundamentals and everything I know. Nothing has literally changed with Kaspa since I first found it. The only thing that's changed is that things have just gotten better. So as long as nothing changed, you know me, I'm always going to keep you up to date. And I try to stay unbiased as possible and just give you guys my thoughts and how I'm viewing the market. But truly, Kaspa has a vision of being that digital silver, that money, global money system for the world. And if we're looking at the other positives of Kaspa, it just has unique fundamentals like no other. Looking at the ASIC mining, it's literally the most profitable coin in the proof of work space for ASIC mining. So it's more profitable to be mining Kaspa than Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin goes into this next halving, I really think that may be a bullish sign for Kaspa, simply being because all these miners are going to get a 50% cut. Some miners probably will never be able to mine again. They may want to keep mining and they will look into probably something else. And I think Kaspa is sitting there wide open, ready to start adopting some more people into the mining game of Kaspa, since it is the most profitable coin. And then lastly, if we're looking at the future and thinking that Bitcoin could maybe serve this purpose as that digital gold kind of narrative, we're looking at gold being at a $13 trillion market cap. And then also if we're looking at silver is a $1 trillion market cap. So if we're looking in the future of just speculating if we get some kind of adoption to this kind of levels, Bitcoin hitting this gold level and Kaspa hitting this silver type of level, I really think Kaspa could in the future fulfill a true competitor to Ethereum that has never been seen before, because it is utilizing proof of work and it's doing things that have never been done before in the crypto space. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my thoughts and telling you why I don't really believe Kaspa will beat Bitcoin anytime soon, but I do believe buying these two assets are going to be really great going into the next bull run. And personally, these are my safest picks for the next market. I don't need to mess with anything else, just simply being because this is where my research has led me to. And I'm just going to keep following this strategy because it's been working for me now. And I'm going to keep doing what works for me and is fun for me. So I hope you guys learned something from this. And please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here. And if you have not considered supporting me on my Patreon, go ahead and check that out. You can get access to my private Discord on there, and I think it's like $15 a month, and truly that money is just to support my work here so that I can continue making content for you guys as consistent as possible. I still work 2 normal jobs and I'm a really busy man, so I just try my best to get content out there for you guys. But truly, if you just want to support this channel, my work here, my Patreon is available, so you can be on that Discord, and I do weekly giveaways there for Kaspa. And also you get to talk to like-minded people like myself on there. So thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, don't be average, be different.